Okay, so now we're working on day two's homework. So the first question is, in our unit on decimals, 15.82 plus 19 plus 32.995. Okay, so now I've got to add these, and I'm going to go straight across. Okay, since it's all addition, I'm going to go ahead and write all vertically. I just got to fill in where I have my missing decimal places with zeros. And I'm just going to add straight down. Okay, so 0, 0, and 5 is a 5. 9, 0, and 2 is going to give me an 11. 1, 8, and 9 is going to give me 18. Put my decimal point in. Next column is going to give me 17. Carry the 1. And then this column is going to give me 6. So the answer is going to be 67.815. All right, so number 2 is a subtraction. Okay, so I need to look at this and make sure I don't have a negative problem. Their signs are different, which means I subtract. The 8.4 is the bigger number, absolute value number, so it is positive, so my answer is going to be positive. So all I have to do is fill in my place value, and I'm going to subtract. So I can't take 9 from 0, can't borrow anything from 0. I'm going to go all the way to the 4 and make it a 3, which makes this a 10, but I need to borrow 1 for the next place value, so I'm going to borrow 1 from that and make this one a 10. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 2 take away from the 9 is going to give me 7. 0 from 3 is 3, and 3 from 8 is 5. So it's going to be a positive answer. It's going to be 5.31. All right, so number 3 is negative 21.35 plus negative 64.52. All right, so they're both negatives. That means I add because they're both negative. So I'm going to add my two numbers. If they're both negative, my answer is going to be negative because I'm adding and subtracting, okay? So 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 3 is 8.58. It's going to be positive because the bigger absolute value it's going to be negative, sorry, because the bigger absolute value, 64, is negative. Okay, so that is my answer. I'm adding my debt. Number 4 is a multiplication problem. Okay, remember I just add up my decimal places in both numbers, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a 3 here so I remember that's how many decimal places I have. Then I'm just going to multiply without my decimal places. I need a little more room than that. Let's do it out here. 21, 22, 6, 7, 8. Got to be underneath the 4 before I start my next line. So 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. Makes it 30. 4 times 2 is 8. Add 3 more is 11. Remember, I have 3 decimal places, so I put that in, and my answer is going to be 11.868. I don't have any negatives to worry about in this one, so it's just positive. All right, number 5. Negative 0.03 times negative 4.1. Okay, so they're both negative. 2 negatives in multiplication make a positive. I know my answer is going to be positive. Now I need to count my place values. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have 3 place values in the end. So now I'm just going to take the numbers, okay? and I'm just going to multiply. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 4 is 12. So I know I have 3 place values, so starting from here, 1, 2, 3. The answer is 0.123. 2 negatives make a positive in multiplication, so this is the answer. In number 6, I have negative 6.2 divided by 4. Okay, I got to make them both a whole number. All right, so I move that one place, got to move this one place, fill in with a 0. So this is what I have. Now, I don't have to worry about those negatives right yet. I'll worry about them at the end, but the first number goes inside the division hat, and the second number goes on the outside. So 40 can go into 62 one time. All right, 40 cannot go into 22. So if I add a decimal to my number, now I can drop down as many zeros as I like. And 40 does go into this for 5 times. So that is going to be, if I multiply them, 5 is going to go into 40 200 times. Because I have a decimal point in my problem, I can add as many zeros as I want, and I know that 40 goes in 5 times. So I know that my answer is going to be 1.55, but if I have a positive and a negative number in division, it's going to be a negative answer. Okay, go back to the negative and positive videos if you're having trouble with this. Let's try to squeeze one more in here. Let's try to squeeze number 7 in here. All right, so remember when we're multiplying 10, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, we take the number of zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we move the decimal place that many places to the right. So I'm going to have to add a 0 to the end of this number because there wasn't enough place values. So my answer is going to be 845,610. They're both positive, so the answer will be positive. First thing I need to do is make my numbers whole. So I'm going to move this one 2 places, and this one has to move 2 places as well if I do that. Oh, wait a minute. Was I thinking this was division? Yes, I'm sorry. Wrong process. I was thinking, for some reason, I was looking at the other one and thought this was a division problem. This is multiplication. And I just wrote the wrong problem down. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So I can multiply just the numbers, okay? That's just going to be the same thing. Anything times 1 is the other number. But I know I have 4 places. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be 0.3267. Positive number, negative number, it's going to be negative. Remember in class, we talked about when things were going to be bigger than the numbers, smaller than the numbers, so be applying that so you can check yourself. All right, so both of my numbers are negative, so I know I'm going to have a positive answer, and I'm going to have 3 decimal places. So now all I have to do, I'm going to flip-flop them so that it's easier. It's just multiply the numbers. All right, so I start from here and I move my 3 places. I know it's going to be a positive because they're both negative. So there we go. All right, let's try to get the next 3 questions in real quick. So I'm going to try to get all these questions in. All right, so if I write things as a fraction, that means division, okay? And the one on the top is the one that's going to go inside my division hat. But first I got to get rid of the decimal. So this one has the most decimal places, so I'm going to move it. And it's going to take 3 places for me to make it a whole number. Well, that means I got to move this one 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. Got to fill in with zeros. So these are my new numbers. The one on top goes inside of the division hat. All right, so 3,400 can't go into 1,462. Goes in 0 times. So now I'm going to add a decimal point in my answer. Once I have that decimal point in my answer, I can have as many zeros as I want. A little rule of thumb, if you're getting confused, like if you're like, this is just too big of a number, just look at the thousands place. So we have 14 past the thousands place. And on the other one we have 3. So ask yourself, how many times can 3 go into 14? 4 times, right? All right, so this is my estimate. Let's see if I'm right. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 16. Add a 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 13. Now I subtract. Okay, because I have a decimal in my answer, I can add another decimal place, which now makes this 10,200. Again, just look at the 10 and the 3. How many times can 3 go into 10? That is going to be 3 times. All right, so 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12, carry a 1. 3 times 3 is 9, carry plus 1 is 10. And that's going to give me the end of the problem. Both numbers are positive, so I'm done. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit 12 on this page. I don't think so. I'm not even going to try. Because it is a long one on top of it all. Okay, got to get rid of the decimal places. This has the most, so I'm moving 3 to get rid of it. All right, so 3, 2, 7, 2, 3 over 10. I don't need those zeros in the front, right? All right, so anything divided by 10 moves the decimal point 1 place to the left. So I can be done right there. The answer is 3,272.3. Or I can go ahead and put this number inside the hat and just divide the 10 through. Not wrong if you do it that way. 10 goes into 32 3 times. Drop my 2, drop my 7. 10 goes into 27 2 times. Remainder 7, drop a 2. 10 goes into 72 7 times. Remainder 2, drop a 3. 10 goes into 23 2 times. Remainder 3. Can't go into 3, got to put a decimal point in the answer. Now I can put a 0. 10 goes into 30 3 times. Both of the numbers are positive, so I can stop there. I don't need to look at negatives. All right, number 12, and this is our last one for this homework set. All right, number 12 is 3.1 plus negative 2.1 minus a negative 6.1 plus a negative 10.235. All right, so I have to apply order of operations to this one, which means doing what's inside the parentheses. Okay, so I have a positive and a negative number, so I am subtracting. Oh, excuse me. All right, so that's 0.1. So my answer is 1 for this parenthesis. Now I got to do what's inside this parenthesis. They're both negative numbers, which means I'm going to add them. I just like to put my bigger number on top. It doesn't really matter. So I add them, and because they're both negative, the answer is going to be negative. Okay, so for this parenthesis, I have this answer. Two negatives beside each other, whether there's a parenthesis there or not, are going to make a positive. So I have 1 plus 16.235. Don't overthink. If I add 1 to that number, it's going to be 17, right? Or you can line up the numbers, but don't overthink. Always take practical answers over everything else. All right, we are done. So I'll see you in class. Email me if you're having any problems, and keep working that homework.